Hello, my dear friends. You're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 27th of August. Today we have some updates, so let's start. And first, we're going to discuss the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. They gave us new numbers, and they are very interesting, to tell the truth. And first of all, the Russians are saying that as a result of successful attack on Izum bridgehead in direction of Vernopolye, and in direction of Krasnopolye, these two towns. The Russians destroyed up to 100 soldiers of 13th Mechanized Brigade and 95 soldiers of and 100 soldiers of 95th Brigade. This one Air Mobile and this one 95th Brigade. As you remember, Krasnopolye is the focal point for the Russians. They need this town because the Ukrainians still hold this area and they're able to keep their forces in this forest, and this forest is a very big pain for the Russians. And 95th Brigade is located on it's the main base located on the north of Slaviansk. We is familiar with this brigade, but the Russians were saying that as a result of their attack, the 13th Mechanized Brigade in Vernopolye, in this small village that located in front of Izum, lost around 100 soldiers. This 30th Mechanized Brigade in the past, in the previous months, used to be in near Kadema on the south of Artyomovsk, near Novolugansk and Ugldarska power plant. That was their main position. But the Russians defeated this brigade heavily. They dealt a lot of damage to this brigade. There was a report from the Russians that this brigade lost its combat capabilities. And after that, this brigade was moved by the Ukrainians, by their military authorities, in direction of Kiev. On the north, as you can see, this is their new position on the north of Kiev. But these days we got another update. As far as I understand, the Ukrainians managed to collect or recruit more troops, more soldiers. They managed to fulfill this brigade, this 30th Mechanized Brigade. And after that, the Ukrainians moved this brigade in direction of Kharkiv. As you can see at the map of this position, this map, at least this sector of this map, has been updated by the Ukrainians. There are new brigades in this area, in Kharkiv area. And the most important, interesting update is that on the 26th of August, 30th Mechanized Brigade appeared in this area. So I suppose that the Ukrainians moved this brigade here. Few battalions were sent in direction of Izum to help the 95th, 93rd and Mechanized Brigade. If you remember, this 93rd Mechanized Brigade was reduced, we can say, till ruins. And yesterday we got update about this brigade that this 93rd lost its combat capabilities. And they left their position at the town by the name of Dibrovna. This is our Vernopolye, and this is our Dibrovna. So as you can see, the same line. So as you see, the Russians, as we discussed yesterday, changed their tactic. 93rd Brigade used to be there. This is their icon, but they lost its combat capability. They were moved from the front line, and the Ukrainians moved 30th Mechanized Brigade in this area. It's totally newbie forces. There were just months ago they were civilians. Now they're on the front line, and today the Russians are saying that as a result of their ground attack, this 30th Mechanized Brigade lost up to 100 soldiers. If we're talking about 95th Brigade, this brigade is located here since May, so they're very professional, I suppose. Of course, they have losses. They had and they will have losses as well, but anyway, they are still there and they haven't lost their combat capability ever. So now the Russians are trying to hunt the Ukrainians of 30th Brigade, and I suppose that they won't continue their offensive operation because, as you see, the Ukrainians are moving more and more fresh forces, newbie forces on the front line, and the Russians reduce these forces as much as possible. Another important update are coming from our Kherson district, from this area. The Russians are saying that as a result of their rocket attack, they attacked this 46th Air Assault Brigade. and this brigade lost up to 130 soldiers and 10 armored vehicles. The Russians were saying that they were attacking this brigade on this bridgehead near Lazova, this town. I'm not sure about the situation on this bridgehead. If you take a look at different maps, they show almost the same picture in this area, that this bridgehead is under Ukrainian control. The Western sources map as well show the same picture. This is our area we are talking about. But if you remember, the Russians a few days ago reported that after their successful offensive operation in the south of Ukraine, they managed to establish control over the small village Blagodatovka, and they managed to establish control over the towns around this Blagodatovka. And today the Russians were saying that they attacked the Ukrainians near the small town Lazovoye. And to be more precise, these 46th Mechanized Brigade were trying to cross this river, Ingulets, this one, and they built a few pontoon bridges. They were trying to cross. The Russians spotted them, and as a result of such attack, this brigade lost up to 130 soldiers and 10 armored vehicles. So I suppose that if the Russians are saying like this, we can say that they gave us two confirmation of that fact that this bridgehead, at least Andreevka, Lazov, is under Russian control. Because if Ukrainians control this area, why do they need to build new pontoon bridges and try to cross them? Because very interesting situation about this area. But let's follow, and we'll see sooner or later the real picture. Now the import updates are also coming from this area. Now the Russians are trying, and they're not trying, they're pinning down the Ukrainians on this line between Белозерка, Первомайская, Засилье, Квитневая, Киселевка, Maximovka. So this area is under very heavy Russian artillery fire. The Russians are trying to reduce the Ukrainians on this line as much as possible, because if you take a look at this map, you're gonna see that these towns, these 9, Белозерка, Первомайская, Засилье, Квитнова, Киселева, is the final fortification before Nikolaev. As you can see, as if this fortification falls, then the Russians will be able to develop their offensive operation in direction of these roads, and they will be able to cut these roads even more. They will be able to start the storm operation of Nikolaev. As you can see, this is the final towns, small villages that stands in front of Russian on their way in direction of Nikolaev. So, according to the Russian report, if we take a look at the map of this position, we're talking about this small town, Kvitneva. According to the Russian sources, this area was under defense of this 63rd Mechanized Brigade, and the Russians are saying that as a result of their rocket attack, 107th Battalion of this brigade lost more than 40% of their soldiers. If we are talking about Mechanized Brigade, we can say that one brigade consists of, let's say, 500 soldiers. So we can say that this battalion and this brigade, 63rd Brigade, lost up to 200 soldiers in this area, Kvitneva, under Russian rocket and artillery shelling. And this is the same Russian pattern, as you can see. First, the Russians are shelling towns, saying about the numbers, that 100 soldiers, 200 soldiers, 30 soldiers. It's like the first stage of reducing of any Ukrainian battalion. Then they're saying that this or that battalion or brigade lost more than 40%, more than 50%. And it's like the second stage of life cycle of any battalion in this special operation, according to the Russian standards, you can say. And the final point, final stage of any battalion is lost combat capability. So as we can see, this 63rd Brigade, this 107th Battalion that located in this small town, Kvitneva, lost up to 40%. So I suppose that maybe this week, by the end of this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe the beginning of the next week, the Russians are going to say that 63rd Mechanized Brigade lost its combat capability, and after that if the Russians are not planning to change their pattern, or maybe they're planning to change, or who knows, they will enter this line. They will enter this line. They start their storm operation in this line. It's like the final line before Nikolaev, and they will clear this area. It will take something like maybe 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks to do this, because we understand that this is the focal point for the Ukrainians. It's a vital defense line. They will drop all their forces, but not to allow the Russians to cross this area. If you ask me, of course, from my side, the question is, if you take a look at this map, you're going to see this gray cloud. And this gray cloud says that this territory used to be under Russian control at the beginning of the special operation. In March and February, the Russians almost entered this area, but then they were pushed back by the Ukrainians, and they left these positions, and now they're going back. So as you can see, the Western sources map are saying that the Russians even entered Nikolaev at the north, and now they're doing the same job, and they're trying to repeat their way. Anyway, I suppose that the battle for Nikolaev, maybe we are going to see very soon the battle for Nikolaev if the Ukrainians are not going to change anything or something in their strategy. Another important update are coming from Kharkiv, from this area. There is a small town, very important town, Dergachi, this one. As you can see, according to this map, the Russians didn't enter this town during their first offensive operation in February and March. They decided to move on the east side from Kharkiv. This town, the Russians wasn't there, but now there is 14th mechanized brigade. The Russians are saying that it's some kind of not permanent headquarters in this area, and the Russians attacked this area, and as a result of this attack, the Ukrainians lost up to 100 soldiers in this on these fortifications, and up to 10 armored vehicles and something around 3 artillery systems. As you can see, this town Dergachi is located on the north from Zolochev. This town, Zolochev fortification, the Zolochev fortified area. If you remember, the Russians started their offensive operation, and something like a week ago, the Minister of Defense, not the Minister of Defense, some official military authorities from the Russian side reported that they established control over town Udy and Adnarobovka. According to this map, as you can see, the Western source map has been updated. Even a few days ago, we saw that the Russians, according to their version, controlled just Okip and Chervona Zarya, but now at least they're showing that, let's say, 40% of Udy is under Russian control. So the target, the aiming of Dergachi is not something like new, it's something not unexpected, because this is the main logistic area where the Ukrainians are able to get ammunition, shells, reinforcement, and so on, that can easily move in direction of Zolochev just to help them to stop the Russian invasion and stop the Russian attack. So this target wasn't unexpected, and the Russians spotted the accumulation of Ukrainians, attacked them, and reduced the 14th Mechanized Brigade and destroyed up to 100 soldiers, 10 armored vehicles, and 3 artillery systems. Furthermore, if we're talking about this area, the Russians also are saying that they destroyed the headquarters of Special Forces Kraken. They also were reinforced, fulfilled by the new forces, and these Kraken Special Forces were moved in the direction of Kharkiv one more time, and the Russians started hunting these Special Forces as well. Now let's talk about updates. And if we're talking about the Western sources map, there is just one important update in this area, and this update considers this small town Blagodatnaya. If you remember, in the previous version of this map, a few days ago, we might see that the Russians controlled just this area on the south of this line, but now the Western sources map are saying that the Russians developed their positions and they reached the railroad that located on the north of this Blagodatnaya. And for now, the Russians are trying to do few things. They're trying to storm Partizanskaya, they're trying to storm Shirokaya Lyubina, and they're trying to pin down the Ukrainians on this front line, from Белозерка, Первомайска, Засилье, Kvitnevo, Kiselevka, and as soon as they take Partizanskaya and these towns, they will start their offensive operation in direction of this defense line. There are no more updates about the dates on the map according to Western sources map, but there are a lot of very interesting updates on the map of this position. And the most important one, I mentioned this update today, is about Kharkiv. As you can see, the Ukrainians decided to reinforce this town, this area. They moved more brigades. And first of all, as we discussed today, they moved 30th Mechanized Brigade in the direction from Kiev area. And this brigade has been already attacked by the Russians in the area of, on the Izum bridgehead in the area of Vernopolye. And also, the Ukrainians moved more infantry in this direction, in this area. They moved 130th Territory Defense Battalion from Kiev. This update is on the 26th of August, and another Territorial Defense Battalion from Kiev, and also this the last update of this battalion is on 26th of August. So as you can see, the Ukrainians also maybe thinks that the Russians have possibilities to develop their positions on the north of Kharkiv, because the winter is coming soon, and it's a vital question for the Russians to develop their bridgehead foothold on the north of Kharkiv before winter. They need to do something before winter. It's very important, and according to my projection and understanding of the situation near Kharkiv, somehow the Russians before November need to do, let's say, something like this. How are they going to do this? To tell the truth, I'm not sure. But if they're able to do this, at least on the west side from Kharkiv, with this we'll be able to cut the supply between Sumy and Kharkiv. At least this will give them opportunity to establish fire control over the supply roads that located on the west from Kharkiv. At least something. Maybe during the winter they will develop. It will be much more difficult than it might be during the summer period, but who knows. And today we got more and more conversation about upcoming autumn Russian campaign in Ukraine. And as I understand, mainly this autumn campaign connected with the south of Ukraine, because as we discussed, the Russians are planning to do a referendum on the 11th of September. It's less than 2 weeks, and these territories, I suppose that these territories are going to join the Russian Federation, and after that the Russians will be able to move their regular army on the south, which will free their contract forces, and this regular army will free a lot of forces on the south, and after that the Russians will be able to start developing their offensive operation in direction of Nikolaev and maybe in direction of Kryvyi Rog. And I suppose that the Russians don't need to, if we're talking about like global scope, yes, they need to develop their offensive operation in Kryvyi Rog to take this town. But if we're talking about the current needs, the Russians somehow they need to fix their issue with Nikopol, with this line, because the Ukrainians using Nikopol are shelling this power plant. So I suppose that the Russians somehow they need to push the Ukrainians from this line, and at least they need 40 kilometers buffer. So if we take Energodar and try to calculate 40 kilometers buffer, so this is the area that the Russians need to take control over before winter as well, because winter is the winter period, and they need to have stable work of a nuclear power plant without any risk of being damaged by the artillery, because winter is winter. It's like minus on the street, and it's much more difficult to handle with power plant or something like this in this situation. So before winter, the Russians need somehow to push the Ukrainians from this bank of Dnieper River on 40 kilometers distance. So I suppose that as soon as the Russians enter their regular forces in the South Ukraine, they will have a lot of reserves to do this operation and Nikolaev operation as well. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.